What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to do a 6-month review of my platinum trophy so far and compare it to the first 6 months of last year. I've kind of broken it down into a few stats because I know everyone loves stats. The things I've broken it down into include total platinums earned, average per month, the month with the most plats, how many extra playthroughs were acquired, and what was my hardest plat in that period. So let's get the stats on screen. So as you can see, there's quite a big difference in numbers. So last year, January to June, I earned 42 platinums in those 6 months. This year it's 16 platinums. There'll be reasons, as you'll see, for why I've earned a lot less. So the average per month for the first 6 months of last year was 7, and this year round it is 2.6. The month with the most platinums was 12, which was March last year, which is a number I don't think I'll ever reach again. It was just a weird month, and the games I think I played, it just helped to get to that high number. This year, the month with the most plats is this month, June actually. Here's the most telling factor. So in those 6 months of last year, I played 42 games, and the total amount of extra playthroughs I had to do was 3.5. The 0.5 being Last of Us Part 2, you kind of have to play half the game again to get all the full upgrades. Whereas if you compare it to this year, extra playthroughs is 23. Yeah, thanks Resident Evil. I think we can thank that game franchise for that alone. So I think that's definitely played a big part in having less platinums, because I've just had to play certain games so many times again and again and again, as you'll see when we go through the trophy list. And then the hardest platinum was Uncharted 4: A Thief's End in my first 6 months of last year. And then the hardest platinum so far this year has been Resident Evil 4. A bit weird that they're both the 4th entry in their franchises, but yeah, those were the two hardest plats in those selective periods. So yeah, so 16 platinums this year, not as many as I hoped for at the beginning of the year, but it's just been a very, very busy year all round in terms of life and work. But it's got me now up to 84 platinums. Hopefully can hit the milestone this year of 100, which was always the aim. So now let's jump onto PSN profiles and look at what I've been earning since the start of the year. So here is my profile on PSN profiles. We started the year off with an absolute bang and what would become a theme of this year's platinums, and that is Resident Evil 2. So this was a great way to start the year in terms of platinum hunting. Absolute great game. I highly recommend playing this. It just edges number 4 as my favorite Resident Evil game. I think it's an absolutely great one to platinum. Requires, I think, 5 or 6 playthroughs, all of which can be quite different as well. So it's quite nice. Each one feels a bit different to the other one that you do. The thing I love about Resident Evil games is that when you have your first playthrough, which you just do for fun normally, you kind of play the game and you think there's no way I can platinum this game because there's so many different things you have to do. The speed run, no healing run, knife and gun only, for example, and you just think no way this can be done. But as you play it more and more, your confidence grows and you realize, actually no, this is quite doable. So the Resident Evil games are so much fun to platinum. Then next I did Uncharted Legacy of Thieves Collection. So for this one you have to play Uncharted 4 and Uncharted Lost Legacy, and you only get 1 platinum for doing both of them. This is the kind of remaster that they did for the PS5. So I started off by doing Lost Legacy, which I played all the way through, and to be honest, I wasn't enjoying it as much as I did the first time I played the game. And last year I think I did all of the Uncharted games, including the Vita one. So I did 6 Uncharted platinums last year, including both these games obviously, and I think I maybe just felt a bit more fatigued. I should have left more time between those and doing this. And so in the end, with Uncharted 4, I'm not gonna lie, I'll hold my hands up. I did do, I had my save file, so I did try an auto pop. It wasn't fully successful, so I had to go back in Uncharted 4 and complete like 12 or 13 trophies. So then straight after that, I did Resident Evil 3, which is my least favorite out of the series so far. I've played 5 Resident Evil games. This is my least favorite. It's okay, it's not bad. It's a good game and definitely one to try and platinum. I don't know, I didn't like the environment that much, the map, some of the characters. But it was good. It was good fun still. The end boss on the hardest difficulty was harder than expected. I actually thought I was going to get the platinum. It was the last thing I had to do was just finish the hardest run. This boss just turned out to be a lot more difficult than expected. And then my last platinum of January this year was Old Man's Journey, which is just a nice little short indie game, kind of one of those easy platinums that you just do to get the numbers up, and I quite enjoyed it. It was nice. And then after that, I did another similar game, which is Sagebrush. This was on sale on the store, and I got it absolutely dirt cheap, and it's quite interesting. It's a first-person exploring game. It's about cults, which I quite like. I do like watching the odd documentary and stuff about cults, and it's quite a good little game. It's a good story, kind of about someone who, she was part of a cult, and she goes back to where their base is and explains the story of what happened there, because there's no one there anymore. So yeah, good kind of first-person exploration game. And then on to a big one, which was Dead Space. This was the remaster that came out earlier this year. This was a good platinum. This was very fun to play, quite challenging, sometimes a bit repetitive, but that's the nature of the game. I had to do 2 playthroughs. Yeah, I highly recommend it. I hadn't played it the first time around because a few years ago I wasn't a big fan of horror games, I'm gonna be honest. Kind of got better at them, so it felt like it was like a brand new game to me, and I really enjoyed it, especially after the disappointment that was the Callisto Protocol in December. I've got a few games on this list as well that I just chip away at in the background, and one of them is Batman Arkham Asylum. So this was a game that I absolutely played non-stop when it first came out on PS3, but I didn't have a PSN profile. I didn't really register any trophies. I think I played it years later on my PS3, and I popped 1 random trophy, so now it just sits there at like 1%. Yeah, this is a game that I need to just sit down and focus on, because right now I'll play it for a little bit, go and platinum another game, then go back and play it, and that's not the best way to do it. I'm also struggling with the controls, to be honest, like kind of just the way he moves around, and sometimes you press counter and it doesn't always work, or you kind of counter to the other person, and it's just, yeah, it's something I just need to get used to. I need to just sit down and focus on it as one game, because I really do want the platinum in this game. Horizon Zero Dawn was a game that I started last year, probably the wrong time, just couldn't get into it. It was a game that was just sitting there in my backlog at like 4%, and I decided to go back and try it again, because I thought everyone talks about this so much, people really love it, it can't be that bad. Like, I just didn't, it was just bad timing the first time round. So went back to it, and yeah, I really got into it, enjoyed it. And pretty straightforward platinum, very typical PlayStation open world platinum, you know, loads of collectibles, side missions, etc. But yeah, it was fun. I'm gonna give it a while before I try the sequel though. But it was nice to go back and complete a game that I had on my trophy list that was just sitting there at like 3-4%. So it was good to kind of get the platinum in that. And then we've got Batman Arkham Origins Blackgate. If you haven't heard of this is the standalone Arkham game they made for the PS Vita. I don't know why, but they did it as 2.5D, which is just basically 2D. So it's like a side scroller game. It's not bad, it's just very convoluted because the map is hard to read and hard to work out where you are. You have to do 3 playthroughs, and you have to do certain things differently in each playthrough, and you have to collect loads of things, but there's loads of backtracking, so you'll kind of get a gadget or a weapon, which means you can then go back to a much older area and then access something. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't know how anyone could ever complete or platinum this game without at least looking at a guide once or twice, because some of the items you have to find are in the most obscure places and you just wouldn't even think about it. But it was pretty good in terms of, you know, as a Batman game on the Vita. It was pretty good. It was not bad. So I'm really glad that I got this one as well, because I started it, as you can see, it's done over 5 months, 5 days. I started it at the time 5 months before March, and I just put it down for a little bit because it was just getting confusing. But I'm glad I came back to finish that. Sleeping Dogs Definitive Edition. So this was on sale really cheap. It got, every now and again, keep an eye, if you like this game or you want to get it, keep an eye out, because it comes on really cheap on the PS store. So this was a game that I was playing. I liked it, but I didn't love it that much, and the grind for getting the platinum whilst not that big or long, was just getting a bit boring. For example, it's one of those games where it shows you all the collectibles on the map, but it being a PS3 game, it's not as intuitive. So if you have a collectible that's say here on the map, you'll try all the different ways to get to it, and it's like you got to go all the way around here to get to here on the beach or something, for example. Then there's one trophy that I realized I don't think I was going to get it, which meant I had to replay missions, and it just reached a point where I was like, I'm not really enjoying myself, and I just walked away, because getting platinum is all about having fun, you know. It's if it feels like a chore, then I don't think it's worth it. And I've got loads of games on my trophy list that just sit uncompleted, so it doesn't really bother me. Yeah, moral of the story, if you're not enjoying your platinum hunt for a game and you're kind of done with the game, just walk away. Seriously, walk away. And if you care about your completion rate percentage, you'll have other games in the future that will make up for it, I think. And then on to the big one, the masterpiece, the jewel in the crown, possibly the best platinum I'll earn this year. So Resident Evil 4, as fans of the channel will know, I live streamed a lot of this, and I just made a guide I think about a week or two ago on how to get the platinum in it. This game is so awesome, and it's a game that when I first started playing it, when I first got it, I didn't have ambitions of getting the platinum, because I knew it was quite difficult. I just wanted to play the game. And I remember when I first played it, I remember I was reading up about it, and people regard it as the best Resident Evil game of all time, one of the greatest games of all time. And the first time I played it, I was like, this is really good, but I don't know why people think it's the best of all time. I finished the game. The very next day, I was like, new playthrough. And again, I was playing it. I finished my second playthrough. The next day, started the third playthrough, and I was like, actually, wait a minute, this is clearly one of the best games of all time if you keep playing it again and again. And even now, I did 8 playthroughs to get my platinum, and I still play the game. Like, I put hours into this. If I don't know what to play, or I just want to relax for an hour, I will start a new game and just do the first few chapters. I don't know what it is about this game. It's the environments, the maps, the visuals, the choices of guns. Leon's a great character. There's just so much to this game. It is comfortably in my top 3 platinums I've ever earned. No question about it. No question about it. I'm so glad I got this one. And I did it on the PS5, and I obviously have access to the PS4 version. And to be honest, it won't be soon, but I am thinking about doing it all over again on the PS4, getting the PS4 version platinum, because then you have knowledge of the game. You can try different things, maybe try different weapons. I can do it in much less playthroughs as well. So I think I will have to do this again, because I love this so much. Then we have Wolfenstein: The New Order, which I just started this game casually, popped a few trophies, and then left it for a long time. And it's another one, a bit like Batman Arkham, where I just play it in between games, or if I feel like a bit of FPS, I just go on and play like half a chapter. I don't really devote time to it or play it like I should do. Hopefully one day I just sit down and just make this my main game and just play it through. But yeah, I'm not too fussed about the platinum. It's just, I don't know, it just sits there. Then we've got Shadow of the Tomb Raider, which is the third of the trilogy. Yep, I tried Rise and I wasn't the biggest fan. I skipped 1 entirely because 1 has loads of multiplayer trophies and it's a big grind. Shadow of the Tomb Raider was good. I enjoyed it. It's fun. It's a lot like Uncharted, but just not as polished in terms of gunplay and climbing. You don't have to do 2 playthroughs, but you have to do it on the hardest difficulty. I chose to do 2 playthroughs just to make my second one a lot easier. The odd thing about this game is when you do the hardest difficulty, it's not the combat that actually gets harder. It does, but it's not the hardest bit. It's the climbing. So, you know how normally in climbing games, they put little marks here and there and disguise it into the environment so you know where to climb. Like there'll be a bit of white chalk or something like that, and you know you need to jump there, etc. That all goes. So you have to make sure you know where you're climbing, etc. And there are no checkpoints. So if you die in a mission, you go back to the last save point that you did. So actually it was the climbing that really bothered me the most when I did the hardest playthrough, but it was really, you know, it was a good game. I enjoyed it. I believe they're making a new one now. I think if I read correctly, Amazon owns the Tomb Raider games now, so they're making a new one, which I will definitely get and play. And look how much DLC there is. I've got the platinum in this game and I've only done 47% of the game. There's loads of DLC and extra content, which I think is really great. On to God of War. So God of War I played the first time years ago. Didn't keep my save file. I don't know why. Always keep your save files. Don't delete your save files like me. So then I did a second playthrough of God of War, and I have to say I really enjoyed it. Like, I enjoyed it as much as the first time, and my appreciation for the game grew a lot more. So I finished it. I've killed 1, maybe 2 Valkyries, and I'm at the place. I've done the trial. So with the trials, I've done all of them up until the Valkyrie. So now I've got that really difficult Valkyrie. Then I know after her you have to do 3 more difficult trials. I'm in the Mist Echo place with all the mist, and I'm struggling there. So I'm kind of trying to do the whole circuit where you grind all the Mist Echoes, but I'm just struggling. I'm not sure if my armor's good enough, but I've also looked into improving it and not much changes. So this is one that I've just paused and walked away from, which is a bit of a shame because I was really working hard at it, grinding at it for weeks. I will try and come back to it, but I'm going to be honest, like, I think this game is a lot harder than people make out, but then it's such a popular platinum, so many people have it, so it just must just be me. But yeah, I'd really like to just try and complete this, and then I can go on to play Ragnarok, or maybe I'll just go and play Ragnarok as is. I don't know, I haven't decided. But yeah, God of War to be continued. And then on to another one of my favorite platinums of the year, and one I'm so happy that I got, and that is Resident Evil Village, which is the 8th entry, and only came out about 2 years ago, so it's quite a new game. This only requires 3 playthroughs, but as usual I did an extra one because I don't know why I always do these extra playthroughs just to be sure. This is a really good game, and it's very cool because it's a first person game like Resident Evil 7, but if you get the DLC they give you a third person option, which I think is awesome, so you can alternate between your playthroughs and just switch it up a little bit, and both play very well. Like, it's brilliant to have a game that you can play comfortably third and first person. I really liked it. I like this game a lot. I think some people, it comes across as Marmite, where some people love it, some people hate it. I really liked it. It's very unique, very gothic. There's a section in the game where, I won't lie, it literally becomes like a Resident Evil Call of Duty collaboration. Like, the game actually becomes like Call of Duty. It's mental. And the hardest trophy in the game is the Mercenaries. I know a lot of you subs have kind of complained to me about the Mercenaries mode, and yeah, it is hard. I bought the DLC, and I ended up, if you buy the DLC, you get Chris as a playable character in the Mercenaries, and he makes it a lot easier. So I'm glad I kind of did that, and I'm thinking about maybe making a video on doing Mercenaries with Chris, just to help some of you guys out. And then on sale recently was Resident Evil Revelations 1 and 2. Revelations was a 3DS game, I believe, and they ported it onto the consoles. I just wanted to start it just to see how it is and see how it plays, and then I ended up popping 2 trophies, which is fine, but I'm not going to get round to it anytime soon, so this will just sit here. But it looks quite playable, and it's got a lot of characters that I like from the franchise, like Jill and Chris, so this is definitely one that I will get back to. But I know it's quite a tricky platinum because there's a raid mode, and you can do, I think there's a co-op trophy as well, which might be hard to find someone, so I'm probably going to end up on Reddit begging for help. Resident Evil Village was the first platinum of June, and I realized, I was like, I need to do this 6-month review at the end of the month, and I don't have many platinums, and I don't know what happened, but June I just turned into turbo mode, and I had one of those months that I was having quite regularly last year where I got loads of plats, but they're a random assortment of games. So Omno's nice. It's a nice puzzle platformer type game. Really easy. You can do it in one day as I did. It's a good game. Nice little fun game to play. I think I accessed this through my PS Plus extra subscription. Then I did a Plague Tale Innocence, which I know is quite a popular game. I quite like this game. It's really good. It's mainly kind of stealth orientated and story orientated, which is great. I think the only thing that annoyed me about this was the she has like a sling as a weapon, and it's not a game that is heavy on combat at all. But then there are some moments near the end where it becomes quite combat heavy, and I just don't feel like the mechanics and controls suited it. It got a little bit frustrating, but it was a good game and I'm glad I played it. It's a good story and really nice visuals. There is a sequel, Requiem, which I think I'll get to one day. I've got so many games right now that, yeah, that one can wait for sure. Then I did Tacoma, which again came out for free on PS Plus extra subscription. It's not a game that you do in 16 minutes. It's a game that takes a few hours, but I used a guide and it was awesome. I used a guide by Optinoob, which is one of my favorite platinum YouTubers. He's awesome, makes really good helpful guides with great commentary. He did a guide where you play through most of the game and you set up each trophy so you can pop them all really quickly. He did it in I think like 5.5 minutes. Yeah, I took a bit longer because certain trophies were a bit just took me a bit longer. So yeah, it's another first-person sci-fi exploration game. Pretty good. And then I found this DC League of Super Pets: The Adventures of Crypto and Ace, the longest titled platinum that I've ever got. And again, free on PS Plus Extra. I wasn't too sure about it because I was like, is this a kid's game? And then I kind of watched footage of it and I thought it does look kind of fun, and it's kind of a quick little platinum, which I just need to get the numbers up. So, and it's DC related. So I ended up doing it and it's actually alright. It's quite fun. I mean, each level is nearly literally the same. Yeah, if you have access to it for free from your subscription, I'd recommend it. If you just want a nice, easy, fun plat, absolutely go for it. And then, yeah, Modern Warfare 2 sits here. I don't own the game, I just play Warzone now and again, so this always just pops up every now and again. I try to delete it to keep my trophy list clean. And then my most latest platinum of the year is Deliver Us Mars. So this came out in, I believe, February. It's the sequel to Deliver Us the Moon. Very good game. It's an action-adventure third-person game, no combat. Lots of kind of climbing and puzzles and very story heavy. A very good looking game as well. It's one of the best looking games I've seen on the PS5. I really liked it. And yeah, very fun, very quick. You can do it within a day. I think I did it over the course of 2 days, but it's very fun, quite a few collectibles, etc. A few little speedrun moment trophies where you have to do a certain section very quickly. I think there's like 2 or 3 of them. They're like the hardest trophies, but they're not that hard. But yeah, it's definitely a game I'd recommend. So yeah, pretty good. So then statistically, I guess I passed 4,000 trophies, so I'm at 4,010. I've got 84 platinums now, which is nice because about a month and a half ago I was a bit worried. I was like, oh, these numbers are not going up, because I do want to try and get to 100 this year, or at least I want to get to 99, because the 100th platinum is going to be very difficult. I've got a load more goals recently because some of the games I've been playing recently, particularly Super Pets and yeah, Tacoma, gave me loads of goals. My completion percentage has gone up, which is nice. So I'm not too fussed about this, but I think eventually it'd be nice to have this in maybe, I don't know, 70% onwards. And my trophies per day has gone up 0.87, which is always nice, and I'm in the top 16,000 of the UK. So I think one day it would be very nice to get into the top 10,000. I think that would be pretty cool. So that is really, yeah, that's my review of my platinums for the first 6 months of the year. The aim now for the rest of the year is to get the remaining 16 to get to 100. I've had a few kind of easy plats recently, so I want to kind of go back onto playing more longer games, fuller games. I've got quite a few to work through my backlog, so I'm gonna now just kind of focus on trying to get to 90, and then try and pick what kind of games I want to be from 90 to 100. And then, yeah, the aim is just to get to 99 and then start working on the very difficult, elusive platinum that I want for my 100th. So that's a wrap on that. Thank you for watching this, and thank you for supporting the channel as always. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, and if you're enjoying this content, please hit the subscribe button. It would mean a huge deal. Thank you once again for watching. Have a great weekend and take care.